The Super Bowl is upon us. Let's analyze the matchup and predict the winner. And well, welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm K99. Thank you as always for taking the time to watch these videos. So today we're going to take a look at the Super Bowl, which is coming up between Kansas City and Philadelphia. And I'm going to take the approach to this game that I took for all the Jets games when I did those previews. So we're going to talk about each team's offense versus each team's defense. I'm even going to talk about the coaching matchup. I'm going to talk about reasons for optimism and reasons for pessimism for both teams as well. So, first of all, with the playoffs, we have gone 10-2 straight up. Both times, both my losses were putting too much faith in the Cincinnati Bengals. But everything else we've gotten correct. So, let's see what we can do. Let's see if we can make it an 11-2 playoff. So, these two teams are remarkably similar. So, I'm going to give you some numbers here. Obviously, neither quarterback is fully healthy, but the Eagles and Chiefs have the same record now, 16 wins to 3 losses. They have scored the exact same number of points, 546. They have the same number of All-Pros, 6 players each. Neither the Chiefs or Eagles have trailed in a game yet in the postseason. First time that has happened since 2004. 19 years, pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the Kansas City Chiefs, reasons for hope and reasons for concern. The biggest reason for hope for Kansas City for me is not just their offensive explosiveness with the best quarterback in the world with Patrick Mahomes, but the fact that they win close games. This has been the ultimate win but don't cover team if you gamble on over-unders. But Mahomes has raised his record to 10-3 in the playoffs with a victory over Cincinnati in the AFC title game. The Chiefs led the league in scoring, 28 points per game. They led the league in yards per play, 6.4. So they're confident they can get the job done no matter who the defense is, even if it is as formidable as the one Philadelphia will be bringing to State Farm Stadium on Sunday. And on defense, you know what? People don't talk a lot about the Kansas City defense aside from probably Chris Jones. Well, they're capable of putting pressure on the opposing quarterback. They have 55 sacks this year. That's second only to you-know-who, the Philadelphia Eagles, with 70. Now, reasons for concern for Kansas City. They had a lot of deficiencies in the regular season. Like we said, they didn't really blow teams out. You know, they had a lot of very close games. Opposing quarterbacks had a 54.5 quarterback rating in the regular season. That's the third worst in the NFL. And the other thing is the Chiefs have not been very good in the red zone on defense. They actually allowed touchdowns on 67% of opponents' trips inside the 20-yard line. That ranks 31st in the NFL. And they were the only team among the bottom 6 there to make a trip to the playoffs. And also, Philadelphia in red zone efficiency, they rank 3rd overall. So Philadelphia gets down to the red zone, they're going to expect to score, and Kansas City could very well have their doubts. Now, let's switch it over to the Philadelphia Eagles. Reasons for hope for Philadelphia is I think they have the most complete roster in the NFL from 1 to 53. It's really led by Jalen Hurts. It's hard to find a weakness. Top-end offensive line, fantastic running game, capable quarterback, great pass rush, good coverage ability. All 3 levels of the defense have quality players as well. The Eagles, we've told you over and over, 70 sacks, 4 players with 10 sacks or more this season. 70 sacks is actually the 3rd most in NFL history for a single season. Now, as far as reasons for concern, the Philadelphia has not been taking the ball away as much. They led the league for most of the year in takeaways, but entering the NFC Championship game, they had gone 7 straight games without generating multiple turnovers. Now, they did recover 3 fumbles against San Francisco. That did have something to do with quarterback injuries. Now, here's the thing. The most complete offense they've probably faced up to this point was probably Dallas. And you know what? On Christmas Eve, Dak Prescott threw 3 touchdowns and threw for 347 yards in that game. So the point is, it is possible to beat this Philadelphia defense, particularly if you can contain their pass rush. First, the Kansas City offense against the Philadelphia defense. That's probably the one people are going to be paying the most attention to, and deservedly so. This is just the third Super Bowl matchup ever to feature the number one passing offense against the number one passing defense. That is juicy. Now, despite piloting the NFL's best offense, 303 yards per game, Mahomes is an underdog in this game due to encountering that Philadelphia defense. They're allowing under 180 passing yards per game. But does Philadelphia have an answer for Travis Kelce? That's going to be the key. Kelce averages 86 yards per game in the playoffs. He's caught 15 touchdowns in 17 playoff games. So what's that plan going to be? Is the Philadelphia defense going to just double him and take him out of the game and, challenge the wide receivers and running backs to beat them? Now, I do believe the Eagles have very good coverage, particularly TJ Edwards. That's not a household name, but he has amazing coverage skills. So he may go against Kelce. It might be Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, upcoming free agent safety. He might go against Kelce. They might switch up their coverage on Travis Kelce, but they must find a plan that's going to work. Now, with the Kansas City offense, everybody is a full go, but Juju Smith-Schuster and Kadarius Toney did suffer injuries in the playoffs. Will that limit their ability to produce? And if that Kansas City receiving core is still beat up, will that allow them to double Travis Kelce? And the other thing with Kansas City, this is the most important unit. It's not Mahomes. It's not Kelce. It's the offensive line. The Kansas City offensive line led the league in pass block win rate, 76%. That's the best in the NFL. Here's the thing. I love their interior line with Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, and Joe Thuney. I don't know about the tackles. Orlando Brown has a very good reputation, but here's the thing. They got two tackles. One is a run blocker first, and the other one gave up 8 sacks this season. So if the Philadelphia is going to generate a pass rush, I would expect it to be on the outside. And that is going to be key for Kansas City, especially their two tackles. Can they do the job against the best pass rush in football? And now we're going to flip the script. The Philadelphia offense against the Kansas City defense. Well, I think the Philadelphia offensive line is the best unit in the league. They key that run game that has made Philadelphia's offense so potent all season long. But here's the thing. That offensive line also gave up 44 sacks this year. And you know what? Kansas City, like we told you, had the second most sacks in the league this season with 55. It's all about Chris Jones. He led the league in pass rush win rate as far as defensive tackles go. And that is with him being double-teamed 69% of the time. He gets double-teamed like nobody's business, and he has still been an absolutely fantastic player, all-pro. The Chiefs really do have to stop the run, especially inside the tackles. So I'm going the opposite here. I feel like it's up to the Kansas City tackles to make the big difference, but the Philadelphia interior offensive line has to really do their job here. Now, Philadelphia to this point has done that job. They've outscored New York and San Francisco a combined 69-14, rushed for 416 yards. And their pass rush, as we know, absolutely destroyed both teams. But it's not so much Miles Sanders. The real breakout player to me has been Kenneth Gainwell. Gainwell leads the Eagles in rushing yards in the playoffs, 160 yards on 26 carries. He averaged just 14 yards per game in the regular season, but he has taken his game to another level, and I don't see why it's going to stop. And the other thing to keep in mind is that the Kansas City rush defense has allowed 4.35 yards per rush to running backs this season. So if you're looking for a dark horse here, you might want to look at Kenneth Gainwell to have a big game. Now, also, it's important to know the Eagles finished the regular season with the league's 9th best passing attack, 241 yards per game, and the Chiefs, not the best pass D. They've allowed 39 touchdowns to quarterbacks this season. So if I'm Steve Spagnuolo, if I'm the Chiefs defensive coordinator, I want to attack Jalen Hurts. I want to make him, throw the ball, because with that injured shoulder, I felt his accuracy against San Francisco. It wasn't as good as it could have been, but at the same time, if you blitz, you're giving the opportunity for A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert to make big plays. But I want to rattle Jalen Hurts quickly in his first Super Bowl if I'm the Chiefs defense. Now, when you talk about coaches, well, Andy Reid is the only head coach to win 10 plus games for two different franchises. And what I think one of his real genius is his ability to keep the team together while still holding players accountable. And look at all the rookies that have contributed this season. Trent McDuffie, George Karlaftis, Jalen Watson, Joshua Williams, Brian Cook. And those weren't, top 10 picks in each round of the draft either. So I give Andy Reid a lot of credit for being able to bring in new players into the system. They're building, I know it's an overused word, but they're building that culture. He did it very well in Philadelphia. He's done it beautifully in Kansas City. And he needs this game for his own legacy. He's fifth all time in wins, but he's got just that one Super Bowl. There's really something about winning a second Super Bowl, especially as a head coach, that takes you to another level. These are the coaches who have won multiple Super Bowls. Vince Lombardi, Don Shula, Chuck Noll, Tom Landry, Tom Flores, Bill Walsh, Joe Gibbs, Bill Parcells, Jimmy Johnson, Mike Shanahan, Bill Belichick, and Tom Coughlin. All Hall of Famers, maybe one or two that you can argue are fringe, maybe in Shanahan and Flores, but Andy Reid absolutely deserves to be spoken with those same guys. Now with Nick Sirianni, he's seeking to become the 9th person to ever win a Super Bowl within his first 2 seasons as a head coach. And at 41, if the Eagles win, he would be the 5th youngest coach to ever win a Super Bowl. He's 23-11 so far in the regular season. He's young, he's energetic, he's relatable. Philadelphia has taken on that personality. And I like that he's been able to tailor this offense to suit Jalen Hurts' strengths, just like John Harbaugh did with Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. So now we got to make our prediction, the last one of the season. Here's my thoughts. Kansas City just has to hang with Philadelphia. They've got to stay close, stay within one score. If they can do that, I think they're going to be able to win this game. I just don't know if I trust the Kansas City offense to stop that Philadelphia defense for an entire game. I think Philadelphia is going to turn Mahomes over once or twice. I think that's going to be the ultimate difference in the game. My final score is going to be Eagles 27, Chiefs 20. My Super Bowl MVP prediction, it's going to be Hassonreddick. It's too easy to pick a quarterback. I feel like I got to pick somebody on defense, and I'm going with Reddick. So those are my thoughts on the Super Bowl. I want to see your thoughts down there in the comments. Who are you predicting to win? Who do you think is going to have a big game? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I'm going to see you back here with more content from you know where. The Wicker Chair.